I've been in the broadcasting business for 54 years, quite a stretch. I think people trying to get in now, I'd say much the same as I'd have said to myself, if I was talking to myself at the time, in 1961, which is, it's a good place to work, but it's a place that attracts an awful lot of people. An awful lot of people want to work in it. Now, it was the same 50 odd years ago, it really was. It always seems a bit easier in the past, especially if you've had the good luck that I've had. But it was still quite difficult. Now it seems more difficult, but there are many, many more opportunities. The small companies, some of them are doing extremely well. The number of channels, the number of opportunities are growing all the time. Instead of being when I came in, it was a two-channel television industry and a very restricting radio industry. Now the television thing has gone absurd. I mean, you think in the 1980s, you won't be able to remember that far back, but that's all about 35 years or so. There were 4 channels in this country, and now there are 400. There were how many independent companies then? Half a dozen. Now there are 500 or 600. So the opportunities have grown, but that brings its own difficulty, because the difficulty being that it's back to what I first said. It's a very attractive place to work if you can get on the right side of it. Very, very attractive place to work because you're doing work that you want to do, because it's very contemporary occupation, because it's quite difficult, and that's interesting too. All this clobber that you have to get to know and know about, the lights, the cameras, the sound, the locations and all that sort of thing. And also you're doing something that speaks to the world now. The world conversation is now through television and radio to a very great extent, and you're part of that, which is exciting. So it brings a lot of people in. But I would say that it's worth having a go. And just to give you an example, on the South Bank show, just to take the last 15 years, 3 people who started as work experience have now become major producer-directors in British television, one of them in America. So there you go. It's the same old thing. If you get in and work hard, and you could get lucky. You've got to have a bit of luck. And once you've got a bit of luck, you've got to keep on going. Basically, it comes down to this, it seems to me. If you've got flair, that helps, but that isn't the big thing. The big thing is determination and not giving in. And the second big thing is this. It looks as if it's very easy to do, and it is, but it's very easy to do badly or ordinarily. The people who make it are people who do it well, and that means learning how to make it work, watching those old guys like Olga and like me, and listening to them, or the cameraman or the sound, listening to them and watching to them. That seems to me to be a real way to learn. So nothing is going to phase you after a while. You've seen them do that, you've seen them make a mess of that, you've seen them retrieve that, you've seen them do that. So it's stacked there, it's filed there. That's really important. And just sticking in. There's people who come to our company and for work experience and then go away somewhere else, and it hasn't worked out, so they come back, then they go away somewhere else, and then they get there. You've got to dig in. It's a very tough industry to start in. I would say it was tough in that sense. Once you get going, if you have a following wind, it's a wonderful place to work.
And you've obviously been face to face with so many people over the course of the last 50 years. How have you kept up the determination to keep approaching those interviews in a fresh way? How do you approach meeting some of those huge figures?
Well, you can't fake it. I'm genuinely interested in it. I mean, I can't think of anything better to do than what I do. I can't think lying on a beach holds a candle to it, if you can take a candle on a beach. I mean, I'd much rather be off about to interview somebody I admire, a singer, a writer. I'd just rather be doing that. I'd rather be doing it in our time than going to a nightclub any day of the week. I really would. So I think, and I find out about my friends my generation. I mean, Ken Loach wants to do drama. That's what he wants to do. I had a man called the late, alas, Philip Whitehead, who wanted to do political programs, and he was interested in politics. That's what he wanted to do. My wife wanted to do documentaries about sociology in the middle of the 20th century. In a way, she went, and that's what she wanted to do all the time. Not like a fanatic, but that's what she was going to bring to it. I think one of the things you and your friends want, what really interests you? What can you bring to it? Sport? Just an entertainment? It doesn't really matter which, as long as you really want to do it. You want to do that. You don't just want to come into television to be in television. It's like, people want to be a writer because they want to be a writer. That's rubbish. You want to be a writer because you want to write something about something that you care about. That's why you want to be a writer. Otherwise, don't bother, because it's a waste of time for you and everybody else. And there isn't such a thing as working in television. You're really having to do something. Like, these men want to be cameramen, want to be sound men. They're not going to give up being cameramen. That's what they want to do. They love it. And they buy cameras are expensive. One guy mortgaged his house to get the latest camera, because he wanted the latest camera, which was this, that, and the other, 64 different varieties of shots you can get on it. They want to do it, and that is a huge asset. That's what I want to do. I know I've talked a bit much here, but I really want to say that it's a good place to work if you can make up your mind that you're going to stick the course and give yourself a time to do it enough. And there are a lot of entry points now. There really are. But there's nothing to beat commitment and focus and energy. If you've got that, you're going to, I would say, on the whole, you're going to make it.